Hey there guys, this is Flamzeron, aka YouTube's Tasuke, and what better way to start my series of E3 videos by talking about a game that wasn't even announced at E3. Of course, for all I know, this might actually go up after I've done all my E3 shit, I don't know. That's like the one thing that I'm always like actually kind of punctual on. But anyway, and sorry if my voice sounds a little hoarse, I was spending a lot of time screaming. But anyway, I wanted to talk about the announcement of Star Ocean First Departure R, because I like me my Star Ocean, as being sort of like, it's like the Tails cousin or the Tails brother or sister or what have you. I think most people call it a sister series or a sibling series, given the history that this series has had. And we don't know too much about it yet, besides the website and obviously them showing the. I think this is from the mobile game. I still don't know how to fucking pronounce it. Star Ocean Anemone, like fucking Finding Nemo or whatever. But they're using that design, those designs for Roddick, Millie, and Dorn. Which I'll be honest, I don't really like the design for Dorn. To me, he looks too much like Claude. I don't know if that's what they're going for. Not that it really matters anyway too much, considering the story, how what happens to Dorn, then you get Cius. I think actually Roddick looks pretty cool, to be honest. But yeah, we got an announcement of this game. It's coming to PS4 and Switch. I think it might also be coming to PC too, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not sure. And we don't have a release date, though, according to Gamatsu, because that's where I got the article and this image from. It's going to be a worldwide release, which I think is going to be good. That being said, it's a little unclear what exactly this is. My first thought is that it's a remake, and Gamatsu seems to think the same thing. Though I believe it's Anime News Network, and I think even Siliconera, who are saying it's a remaster. Which, if this is supposed to be a worldwide release, that kind of makes sense given how long it takes to localize a game in different languages. That being said, one thing I've kind of figured out is that these games are kind of announced pretty well, or they're revealed rather, well into their life cycle. So for all we know, they could be almost done with the game. And I kind of hope it is a sort of like a further remake, I guess. I don't know. I think it'd be kind of fun to sort of play a brand new Star Ocean First Departure, because even though I say Second Story or Second Evolution is my favorite, First Departure really drew me in a very Tales way. I feel like this is like like looking back at it, this is kind of hindsight. That game kind of brought me in a very Tales way. I got drawn into the story, and I really enjoyed the characters, and the gameplay was pretty fun too. And it's the more balanced of the two PSP games, since Second Evolution, it's more like an enhanced port rather than a full remake, like First Departure was. And I'd be interested to kind of see how they handle things using a new engine. I imagine it's probably going to look kind of like Integrity and Faithlessness, which I still haven't finished. Just other things have kind of gotten in my way. I'm actually kind of behind on a few games, but I'm intrigued. I hope to see more at E3. Obviously, by the time this goes up, we'll probably have seen some gameplay. So, and because of that, I'm gonna go ahead and retcon this thing that I just said, and I'm gonna upload this tomorrow or something. But I kind of prefer it being a remake, mainly just because I feel like if it's the same game as it was before, I don't know, I probably won't get it then, even though it would be on a console, unless there's some extra added content, which is possible. That being said, if it is just a remaster of the PSP game, we'll probably get the voice cast from the PSP game, because from what I understand, everyone, or mostly everyone, was recast for the mobile game, like everybody, with the exception of I believe all the people from Integrity and Faithlessness or Star Ocean 5. I haven't looked to see if they replaced anyone from 4. I know they did 3. And 2. And obviously 1. Yuri Lowenthal's not playing Roddick. I think it's Sherman something. I haven't heard the voice, but I'm sure he sounds fine. And he looks cool here too. I think he looks really cool. The one thing I kind of liked about the first Departure cast was that, kind of like Tales of Symphonia, it was sort of a mixed cast from like actors of different things. Like the one that really saddened me the most was Ronix. Because in the mobile game, he's no longer voiced by Sam Gold. He's voiced by someone else, and I really like the idea of cartoon actors coming in and doing this different kind of like anime video game thing, because the thing with cartoon actors, they can be pretty versatile, especially given the kind of recording conditions they're given, because they have to record everything kind of back to back. They don't get like line breaks or anything, or at least most of the time. Because I know with Dragon Ball Super, which is similar to recording an American cartoon, because you know how they record anime, I believe Masako Nozawa records all her lines separately, I believe. I don't know if it's due to like scheduling or what. But that being said, I actually kind of like it because, like I said, Roddick was voiced by Yuri Lowenthal, who's one of the most prolific anime voice actors of our time. And he's moved on to now Spider-Man, so he's kind of a big deal. But then also Millie was voiced by, I believe, the first voice for Alex in Totally Spies, and that's something I picked up on because they sound pretty similar. And Dorn, I think Dorn might have been Bryce Papenbrook, and he was credited as Dick Smallberries Jr. So I'm pretty sure, I think that's a pseudonym for Bryce Papenbrook, I believe. It didn't really sound like him from what I could remember, but of course Grant George is Cius, among other stuff, and like Sam Gold is Ronix. One of the Tenchi Muyo voice actors was Ilya, and Vic Mignogna was the Tanique, I think his name was, the martial artist, and just other cast members. Richard Epcar was also in there. He's Raiden in Mortal Kombat. But I really kind of like how they have like these different pools of like anime voice actors, video game voice actors, and cartoon voice actors, and that's something I actually kind of liked about Tales of Symphonia 2 as well, because Scott Minvale, Lloyd, Cam Clark, Kratos. I think it's Heather Hogan as Colette. And, of course, Crispin Freeman is Regal. So I listed off, like, a bunch of cartoon actors. And, of course, obviously, Tara Strong is Persea. So I listed a bunch of cartoon actors, but then Crispin Freeman, who's an anime voice actor, and he's kind of gone on to do a lot of bigger... He's almost more like a high-end anime voice actor. And I kind of like that about the Star Ocean cast. It was mostly people I wasn't familiar with the exception of Yuri Lowenthal, and once I realized who it was, Millie, I'd have to look back at the name of the actress. And Richard Epcar sounded vaguely familiar, but anyway, I'm kind of going on a bit of a tangent. Yeah, like that's my main concern with it being a full-on remake as opposed to a remaster, is that they'll probably replace everybody with the cast from the mobile game. Which that'll give me a chance to kind of hear how they sound, because obviously I don't play the mobile game. I'd like to. It looked kind of fun, especially now that friggin' Cress and Mint, and I think even Archie from Tales of Fantasia are now in the game, and Reyna and Claude are in Tales of the Rays. So like it's kind of weird, like these two franchises are kind of coming together a little bit, which is kind of interesting, but I'm kind of looking forward to this. Hopefully we'll get to see some stuff at E3. Like I said, I'm going to upload this pretty early on, so I don't know. Maybe I'll do I don't know. I'll figure something out. I don't usually do 2 minutes because I'm not a news. I'm not an entertainment news podcast channel, so I'll figure out how. I don't know. I'll figure something out. You can always listen to the podcast if you want to hear me like talk about something like day by day, or week by week rather. But I'm interested in this. If I do get it, I'll probably get it on PS4. Especially considering if it's just a remaster of the PSP remake, then having it on the Switch would be basically the same thing as having it on the PSP, just a bigger screen. I can sometimes put it on the TV if I wish. So I'll probably get the PS4 version. Although I forgot one thing also. Another evidence of this being a remaster rather than a remake is because in Japan, Star Ocean 2 Second Evolution actually got a PS4 release in Japan. So, that's a possibility. I feel like, though, for how they're marketing it right now, I don't know. Calling it First Departure, Star Ocean First Departure HD, I think would have made more sense than First Departure R, because I feel when I think of R like used like this, it sounds more like a remake, especially again using the artwork from the mobile games, which looks really nice. But at the same time, it's like, well, if it really is a remake of the or if it really is a remaster of the PSP remake, then and not a second remake, then I think they would probably use different artwork. That being said, considering this is the first Star Ocean game, even remake aside, using just like the remake that they did, that's like still kind of like retro looking and kind of old school looking, I think kind of makes sense, because I feel like with these big RPGs, for the very first game, keeping the remakes less modern, I think actually makes a little bit of sense, because you kind of get to see where the series has come. And with Tales Fantasia, for example, and East One, like they're pretty dated by the standards of their latest releases. But the thing is, it kind of shows you how far they've come, and it kind of shows you where they began. Like, with East One, it's like it's one of those run to attack games, so, or run into enemies to attack them games. But anyway, I just kind of wanted to talk about this a little bit, give like some initial thoughts on it. Hopefully we'll see some stuff at E3. If it's not a remake and just a remaster, I'll probably just tell y'all to get it, but I won't actually get it. But hopefully it's either way. Star Ocean First Departure, I think, is a great game. So if it is just a remaster, then you should. This would definitely be the time to get it, because I think y'all would really enjoy it, especially if you like the Tales series. So that's pretty much it. So alrighty, this is Flamsaron, aka Tasuke, signing out. See you later.